we're an Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, and we do want to talk about these other trades and how they affect the West and how they affect the Thunder. But what we really want to talk about right now is Josh Giddey's improvement, because we're seeing former Thunder players go into the twilight of their career, and we're watching a 20-year-old come into his own, and we want to kind of set the map if we can.
Yeah, and as the great Coach Gundy said, I'm a real man. I'm a fucking man. Talk to me. I'm a fucking man. Every single time I see Josh Giddey in that fourth quarter, that's what I think about, man. I think of Gundy yelling at the reporters, I'm a man. Because, like, Josh Giddey is doing everything he can do out there in that fourth quarter to prove that he is the guy. And I love it, man. Like, to me, he's taking the huge load of everything in that fourth quarter we've seen recently, and he's just coming through, and he's coming through big for us. And without him out there in that fourth quarter, we don't win half of these games that we've been winning.
You know, a lot of people will say, this guy's playing chess and I was playing checkers. You can tell that Josh Giddey is always out there playing chess.
Let's back up that. Let's rephrase that. All right. Josh Giddey's playing footy while everybody else is playing basketball. All
right. That's cool. Now, most people don't know what you're talking about. Because
footy's so much more advanced than basketball. Let's just put it out there.
So, Australian rules football, it's different. It's a little bit...
AFL, yep.
It kind of resembles rugby a little bit if you're not familiar with it, but it's different, and the rules are different, but some of the fundamentals are very similar to the rules of basketball, even though they play it out on grass outside. Like, the idea that you can pass to open places, you can lead players, things like that. We've had a lot of our Australian listeners...
spin on the ball.
Spin on the ball.
We call it the English on the ball. Like, there's so many things that Josh has brought to the game that he learned, playing footy as a kid, and it's inspiring, man. And you look at Ben Simmons, he's the same way. Patty Mills, some of these guys that have gone through the systems in Australia, and that's why the NBL is so valuable to the NBA, and it has to continue that way, is because, you're seeing what Josh is doing out there. And there was a play that I go back to when I think of Josh dribbling the ball and doing these amazing things. And I think we're playing against Cleveland, and he dribbles between two defenders, right? Now, we've always been taught to dribble on top of the ball, right? Okay, and that's something that we've all, obviously. Josh goes on top of the ball and then goes side spin, right? Through to the defenders, low dribble, up, wide open layup. I was just like, whoa, what just happened? I rewound it, watched it again, and he just goes on top, side spin, dribble. And I was like, he put English on that. He did all this other stuff to get through so that the ball did not touch these other guys. And it was just so impressive. It was so beautiful. And it was just like, that is not something you see in the NBA, ever. I may be seeing one player in, my entire life that's ever done a side dribble like that. It's a spin dribble. Just never seen it. And I look at what he's doing and the passes that he passes and underneath it. And it's just like, how he flicks it cross court without even blinking, man. It's just the hand wrist, the flick that nobody else is doing. And it's just like, he's playing footy in a game that footy works, that nobody ever thought that footy would work in a basketball, as if you think about people talking about soccer as being good for your child to play if you want your children to have good footwork, right? Or football or whatever, depending on where you live in the world. People say that's really good, but man, we need to get footy in America, because it teaches kids unbelievable techniques for all sports across the board.
One thing we've noticed is that this team has the ability to teach each other different things. And we see a rookie like Jay Will come in and pick up on his passing already, pick up on his shooting already. And then he also came in with an elite skill already, which is taking charges. And that over time, that's going to be something that kind of permeates the rest of the organization and a value that we're trying to instill. But right now, with what Giddey brings to the table, what he's been able to do over the last few games, 10 games, I was looking at it, his stats are pretty good, although they're not that different than the regular season for him. But for a 20-year-old to be averaging about 18 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, do we have anybody to compare that to as far as historically, to kind of try to create a trajectory where we could say in blank years when Giddey's entering his prime, say 5 to 7 years when he's entering his prime, which is scary to think about, where would you rank him but it's hard to say. But the one thing that you have to look at, the stats are interesting, but his size and how fast he's improved his game since he got to the NBA, both of those two things would indicate that he could be a player of Magic Johnson's stature by the time he's done.
I want to go back to something that I don't remember who said it was you or me or a combination of us, but when we're talking about Josh Giddey in his second year in the beginning of the season, before we played any games, we said what was going to need to be the change that we need to see in Josh, to the All-Star break, and you said something like, I would like him to average 18 points a game, 8 rebounds, and I think you said 7 or 8 assists. Okay.
And I remember it was you and Chencho on the call, and you both were like, whoa, that's a big number.
That's a big number. And it still stands out to me because I'm thinking about it. And the thing about it is that if you're looking at, where players need to be at their second year in order to be considered a blossoming star, I mean, Josh is rubbing up against that clit over and over and over again. And he doesn't even know he's probably doing it. But you're looking at his stats and you're looking at his numbers and you're looking at, he's had 2 games over 35 minutes. That's it. And he's dominating with under 35 minutes of playing. That's crazy. What we need. And if you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, what if you add 10 more minutes to his playing? Then he's averaging 20 points a game. He's averaging 9 rebounds a game. He's averaging 8 assists a game. And you're like, okay, this is a legit young man. This young man is averaging 30 minutes a game, and he's been playing unbelievable in the last 10 games. Well, averaging probably the worst 10-game span of his career in three-point shots right now. I don't want to pick on, anything on Josh because what he's doing is so spectacular, but he's averaging 17 and a half points with averaging under 20% from the three-point line during this span. And that is what's so impressive to me. I don't even like the three-point comparison because that's not part of his game necessarily right now, part of his game. But he's doing this by getting to the hole, right, and taking advantage of the much smaller guys or the bigger guys that are slower. And if you look at how he's being able to do that and take advantage of it, it's just beautiful, Mark. I can't describe how much his game has dwarfed into what we considered a blossoming superstar at this moment because whether or not anybody in the Thunder Nation wants to admit that, oh yeah, we saw Josh being a superstar. There's very few of us, very, very few of us that actually thought that he had this ability to be this. And if you guys go back and listen to our other podcasts that we talk about Josh Giddey, and there's fuck tons of them, that's the thing that we do, man. We saw, we felt. We went back and studied Josh Giddey's family, went back and studied Josh Giddey's dad's game. And then we started understanding where he got his offensive game, where he got his defensive game, and then where he was able to play with the 36ers and how he is able to, morph into this unbelievable young man. Mm-hmm. And now we get an opportunity to watch him inside of our system, blossom the way he should be. I mean, he's taken the ball and made it so that there's no Shea being point guard and nothing else. I mean, his stats are so impressive that it's point guard A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. We share that rock like nobody's business. And I love the fact that Josh Giddey's ability to pass the ball. We saw 11 assists, 16 points, man, against the Lakers. And I'm sorry, that was against the Indiana Pacers. He had 20 points and 6 assists, but his assist against the Lakers, man, were the eye-popping, oh my God, and
it's the way he does it.
It's the way
he gets to his spots. Early on he was struggling from behind the arc. Now teams are closing out on him, so he's getting less open shots. So his shooting percentage isn't great, but if he creates that space, that's the key.
He's getting by people so fast.
Yeah, exactly.
His first step is so
he was having
deadly.
trouble with that early because they weren't closing out on him.
And his fader, I call it the fader floater, right, where he gets to all the way to the baseline and banks it off the glass.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few guys in the NBA at his size that can do hit a shot like that. Most of the guys are so focused on taking that mid-range shot or pulling up and proving what they can do. But with Josh, man, he's all focused and concerned on making sure making sure that
his teammates get the ball where they want it.
That's it. Like and that's what's so different about the way Josh's game is that everybody else that is has Josh's ability to put up 20 points a game is more focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
Josh is like, I can dominate by going, floating, do my floater to the bank shot, my floater to the middle, my pull up that's really close to the lane, because he can finish over big guys. Mm-hmm. Like there's very few guys that have his capability and understanding, because he can go up there and do that. But on the same sense is that he doesn't have any issue driving hard, and the entire defense collapses and passing out to Isaiah Joe, Trey Mann, Kenny Hustle, Moose. I mean, Shea. It doesn't matter. Like, my favorite thing that he does is finding J-Dub cutting back door, and he sees it so much, man. And there's nobody else like this out there. I mean, you can say there's other elite point guards that have some of the things that Josh has. But I don't know if there's been a 20-year-old point guard, ever been a 20-year-old point guard that has Josh's capability and size.
I did a little research while you were talking.
Okay, please do.
I mentioned Magic Johnson, so I wanted to know how old he was when he was a rookie. 20 years old. All right. So let's look at his stats and comp him real quick. 18 points a game.
Yeah.
7.5 rebounds. 7.3 assists as a rookie. Now, his second year, he only played 37 games, so we can't really take that too far. He did average a few more points that year, but then after that, it took him from 81 to 85. He never averaged more than 18.5 points a game. Okay. After that, it started getting into the 20s, but he only had a few years where it was in the 20s. His rebounding stuck around 8 to 6 in that range every year. Now, his assists, they went from 7.5 all the way up to 12.5 a year during, that 85 run and plus, right? So my point is, though, his scoring is there.
Yeah.
Comp to a young Magic. His rebounding is there. Comp to a young Magic. His passing is there, right? So why are we afraid to fall in love?
Well, here's the thing: is superstars, right? They all come in different size, shapes, and forms. Just as simple as that. Like
different parts of the world.
Different parts of the world. I'm so glad we're talking about Magic Johnson and the way that he's able to be considered a superstar with never, out. I think he averaged his entire career 18 points a game or 19 points a game.
Yeah, it was around there. I think he won 3 MVPs or something, bro.
But that's my point about that is so perfect, is that, like, he's the perfect person to look at and say Josh could be like this. I don't know a better comp. The size, point guard, the way he passes the ball, his knowledge of the game. I know people are going to be like, well, Dave, come on, stop it. Stop comparing a 20-year-old to one of the game's greats. But, like, just look at it, what he does, and look at how he passes the ball and the flair that he passes the ball with. I mean, it's not Magic-esque all the way to the tee, but it's close enough in my mind where I'm sitting here saying this could be possible. Like, this is not only a possibility, this is something that I have to look at and circle and say, I'm watching Josh's trajectory from this point on. Because if he can continue to improve and get closer to that 20 points a game, and averaging, double figures in assist, then anything's possible. And I've said it. I believe that there's a lot of assist records that were set, 20, 25, 30 years ago that aren't going to have any place at all with a modern game. Just not. There's going to be like people like, we want the hashtag, we want the asterisk next to the game, the people that are coming up, because the game's different. Everybody's passing everybody in the assist records. All
right, bro. All right. So
Josh Giddey is going to be that person that leads it.
You just said it. All right. So here's the deal, right? How long would it take Magic Johnson to take over the NBA, most assists in his career? I'm sure if he stayed healthy and played for another 10 years, he probably would have had it. Yeah. I don't know. Somebody's going to look it up. But John Stockton obviously has it pretty comfortably, but Magic had a shortened career. So the question is, can Josh Giddey pass John Stockton?
Every part of me wants to say yes. Every part of me. Because if you look at Josh's career, if Josh spends 20 years in the NBA and he can average, 9 assists, 8 assists throughout his entire career, I mean, he has the ability to be a top 5 assist player in the ever in the NBA. And if that's the case,
do you think he'll get to like where Magic got, where he was getting 12 a game?
That's what I was saying. Is that I think as he gets on, if we keep Shea, right, we keep J-Dub, we keep Chet, then yeah, I think there's going to be a season where everybody's going to say Josh Giddey could actually break the record for most assists in the season.
So let's do a real quick recap, guys. We feel like Josh Giddey is a little bit like Magic Johnson. We've talked about Shea before being a cross between Michael Jordan and Kobe, right? And then we have J-Dub, who we feel like is sort of a cross between like a D Wade and a Kobe, right? Kind of vibe. And then we have Chet. Plus, we have the deepest bench in the NBA, and we have the deepest set of draft picks ever. So if that doesn't make your heart race, if that doesn't make you just want to like watch every game, we don't know how to get you pumped up, because we were talking about it. The trade deadline is here.
Yes.
Okay. And we've seen KD get traded, Russ get traded. We have seen, like, on the same day, we've seen some of the greats, kind of like from the Thunder past, kind of be put into the twilight of their career. I would say they're already there, but a new team like this, you know, definitively you can point at and be like, these are the forgettable years, right? And now, at the same time, though, we're watching this new young group come up, and we're saying, how can we stitch this team together? How can we make sure that they're not playing for different teams at the end of their career? You win championships. That's the key. Yep,
that's it, man. Like, it creates this extra money. It creates this extra vibe, bigger stadium, you know, everything else like that. It helps. It changes everything. And that's why I keep going back to it is the Thunder need a championship. But with all these trades that have happened, I hope you're cool with me talking about the trade deadline.
Let's do it, dude. We got a couple minutes. Let's do it.
But with all these trades that have happened, I feel like it's made the West stronger in of sorts and weaker, man. Like, look at KD going to the Suns, right? Right. That's going to make the Suns better for this year, possibly next year. But, you know, like, they're old. I mean, they're creeping up on that, like, do not enter a zone. Then you have Utah. They got worse, right? So that makes it pretty clear that they're getting worse. I feel like Portland got worse. Now, the trade deadline's not done, so Portland could do something. But getting rid of Josh Hart for Cam Reddish, I don't know. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding, you know, Cam Reddish as a player, but I feel like that was a downgrade.
Yeah, look, Josh Hart is a very, very good role player.
Yeah, and then so right there, those are the teams that were half a game of us, Portland and Utah. Utah were tied, Portland half a game ahead of us. Golden State, Steph's out for indefinitely. They're a game and a half ahead of us. Minnesota got rid of Russell, right? And they got in return Conley, okay? That could help them. But some things are unhelpable, especially if you just don't have the right mix. The Pelicans, right? Zion Williamson, he's out for a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, whatever it's going to be. So that's in trouble, and they're 2 games ahead of us, okay? After that, the Clippers. I feel like the Clippers are going to pick up Westbrook, man. Westbrook doesn't want to leave L.A. Clippers want Westbrook. So I feel like Utah will buy Westbrook out, allowing him to go to the Clippers, where he can stay with his family there and, you know, living right next to LeBron. And hopefully he can knock LeBron out of the playoffs and rub it in. Phoenix obviously got better. Dallas got better. Sacramento, you know, like, here's the thing. Sacramento has been a top team in the West, but with all these other teams getting better like this, I think Sacramento is going to drop down to that 6th spot. And I think we have that 6 solidified right there. Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, Dallas, Phoenix, and Clippers are cemented right there. Those 6 are done. Where we're looking at is the next 4 spots. And there's 6 teams, in my opinion, that are sitting in those 4 spots. And in the next, I would say, let's just say 3 weeks, right? Those 6 teams, so we'll go Lakers, us, Portland, Golden State, Minnesota, and Pelicans. And I'm leaving Utah out because Utah's, I think they're done. They're gonna go for the full tank there. So I think there's only going to be 2 of those 6 teams that are vying to win. Everybody else is going to either A, have too many injury issues that it's not going to matter, or they're going to be like, we're too far out of this. Let's just go for the draft. And that's what's crazy, because 2 out of the 6 are going to go for it, leaving a team like Minnesota and maybe Pelicans to sneak in, but Golden State and Portland are in trouble, guys. Lakers are in trouble. They're still in trouble. So to me, I'm pretty excited where we're at. I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to slip in.
All right, so let's talk about it. Before we started January, you called. You said you thought that we'd win 10 games. We won 9.
Yeah.
So we had a chance to win that 10th, and it was pretty exciting. So what do you think we need to do to sneak into the playoffs? You said it before we got on.
We got to win. We got to win 10 more games in March.
10 or like we're in February right now. So you were saying before you thought we could go win 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 12. Is that what it takes?
I said if we win, let's say if we win 10 out of 12, I think there will be such a significant separation between us and the teams that are out of the playoffs that it will be almost insurmountable.
There you go, guys.
And I think that's the thing about it. If we continue to keep on the throttle, keep on getting out there and get Dort healthy and get JRE and get Poku healthy, and we're able to make this push, for March and the end of February and into March. Listen, there's maybe a few teams I'm scared about, but we have a really, really nice schedule coming up here. And I think that's why I have to say is that if I'm looking at it, I'm saying we win close to 10 games in March. We push out the end of February really hard, and we're sitting in a really good spot for April to be able to say, now we're just getting set for the playoffs and the play on who we are playing against, because everybody else is out.
Well, if that doesn't rev up your engines, it's time to get your engine rebuilt, guys. Let's go. I'm pumped, dude. I'm pumped. We're going to make a run at this playoffs, guys. I feel it in my bones. It's not the first time I've been wrong about something, so I could be, but let's see what happens. Let's stick with it. We got a game coming up against Portland tomorrow. We hope that you guys will join us for the pregame. We were talking about it. We're going to go ahead and skip the actual. Maybe we'll see. But I'm planning on getting some sleep. It's such a late time in the East Coast, so we hope that you'll join us. If you want to join us for the pregame, if you want to join us for the next game, because we go live for those games, make sure that you turn on your notifications. We'll ding your bell, and you can come join us. We love dinging your bell, so join us.